Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we will be reacting to Your Life in the Trevor Henderson universe. So, originally, I was going to do like a funny video, but the comment by King Isaac caught my eye when he suggests this. So, after checking out the first video, I thought, hey, why don't we go at it again? So, without any further ado, let's get into the video, and I hope you guys enjoy. We're not even a second in, and I'm already greeted with nightmare fuel. That kind of looks like a gas from Minecraft.
I've always wondered what it would be like to live in the universe with all the Trevor Henderson entities, and I think
that's what it is.
Like this. You awaken to the thing in the window looking at you again. It's here almost once a week, but that doesn't stop it from sending you onto the floor in a panic. A quick consultation of the danger level tier list doesn't make it any better, as it's ranked in the run category. But no worries, a quick 2-hour lockdown should suffice, just to be sure it's gone. It's safe to say you might be late for work, again. But you're optimistic because there's a Category 5 giant roaming through town, and all you can do is hope that it takes out your office building on its way through. Either way, you should be fine staying home until the government
that's a
gets
pretty
this
good
under
bright
control.
side to it.
If this sounds like something out of a nightmare, that wouldn't be too far off, as this is just a glimpse into what the average day would be like coexisting with the monsters of the Trevor Henderson universe, and it's nothing sort of a miserable existence. So just in case you're having a bad day in the real world, I'm gonna go over how much worse it would be living in the twisted mind with Trevor Henderson's unique artwork. Now, a quick note, I want to go over that this whole video is heavily assumed based off of the images and lore provided on the wikis, so the majority is an educated guess and not canon. I am, however, going to be using the Trevor Henderson tier list that I mentioned at the end of my Logically Surviving video, so keep that all in mind. And I'd love to hear y'all's ideas on what you would think living in this universe would go, so feel free to tell me down in the comments. In my opinion, the only logical way to go about living in this universe would be to assume that some of the creatures are part of a species, meaning there are tons of them. Some of them are more rare encounters.
Oh my god, he
normalized
normalized it.
Are just one being that are so OP that they have the ability to be anywhere at once, and you just happen to be one of the lucky few to encounter it. Regardless, this would not be new to you, and would likely have government warning systems installed by now, which is why I mentioned the natural disaster-like system for the giants earlier, with the higher category being a bigger and more devastating giant. And that's assuming that the smaller ones wouldn't just be dealt with by the military, and the bigger, more durable ones guided away as soon as possible, as it's likely they wouldn't be able to be killed. Now, to start a video, I'm going to be going over what I like to call the morning essentials. Now, as nice and calming as that sounds, it is way more positive than what it entails. In order to understand this, I need to first make you...
Dude, what the hell is that?
Familiar with the home intruder class, which, if you haven't seen my previous Trevor Henderson video, is a grouping of entities with the interest and special talent of appearing where you feel the most safe and when you're the most vulnerable.
Wait, so you're telling me if I'm in my room playing Sonic the Hedgehog
and walking around in the dark,
that thing is just gonna pop behind me and snap my neck
to missing family members and a 7-foot tall reaper waiting to claim what's left. First of all, don't ever turn off all the lights in your house or even your bedroom. Visibility is going to be key for determining a fight or flight scenario, even if it's just a...
It's always going to be a flight scenario. There's no such thing as fighting in this damn universe.
Not that I would even be able to move when it gets dark in this universe, not to mention close my eyes and sleep for 8 hours knowing these things could be eating my cats. And then meanwhile, hours later, the first thing I see when I wake up is the forgotten baby who is known to move
I'm glad I watch this stuff often now. This does not face me anymore.
Even what they're witnessing, because there's a giant disturbing creature that is somehow maneuvering into their bedroom with not so much as a decibel. This is in the too late category for a reason. To prevent this from happening in the first place, do fortify your house upon moving in. By this, I mean, as a bare minimum, invest in some sort of motion alarm systems, and while this sounds terrifying...
An emotion alarm system ain't gonna do you nothing.
At least you're not
board that crap up with some iron bars.
The system is a must. Investing in a home with smaller raised windows, as well as finding a way to block your chimney and reinforce your door. Speaking of moving in, choosing a home wouldn't be that much of a blast either. Remember that amazing house 2 neighborhoods over that has a price too good to be true? Well, in this case, case, it's less because it has hidden damage or something, but rather is in a scissors neighborhood, which, if you're not familiar, essentially becomes infected
I remember
by
that
this
one.
entity
That one had
immediately
me
begins to
staying
curse
up
the
for a few
location
days.
with
I kid you not. I was up in my bed, constantly looking over my shoulder in the dark, wondering if that thing was going to get me. And I'm 15, going on 16. That's embarrassing.
increased vandalism and violence, and after weeks in an extremely hellish living scenario, your home has the chance of being chosen, and when it is, nothing can be done but succumb to this thing. Your only hope in this sort of thing would be paying attention and taking advantage of the helpful entities in this universe, such as Longhorse, who
This
is
may
known for
sound
warning
weird, but
about
I find that
harmful
horse
things in the
creature oddly
future while
adorable.
you're buying and moving into your new home. But that's just one of the many aspects of your new day-to-day life that would be turned upside down by these things. So let's go ahead and move on to our next section. Now, as you can probably assume, going out anywhere in this universe would be a struggle, as you're inevitably going to run into these things. Want to go to the mall? Well, you better hope you're not there too late. The movie theater? Well, I would suggest picking movies with a fuller theater. Even things as simple as staying after class seem to have become dangerous, as some
Hold on, my earbuds just died on me.
of your teachers may have now been relocated and replaced with something that you might not want to be alone with. Not to mention running into a damn 9-foot-tall mascot costume that you have never seen in your school before. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm not the most aware person, so I might not notice that there's a 6-foot school bell floating off the ground, and it probably shouldn't be getting closer. But it's assumed
I
that if you
just
do
said that
stay
in the last
populated
video.
locations, you will be less likely to be singled out should an attack happen. In this universe, there is no doubt that these things would be hunting us, but using the herd mentality that many animals use in the wild could save you from disaster. It is likely that due to the deaths these entities would cause daily, the local police forces would institute a curfew for your own safety, as they seem to be more aggressive at night, with some exceptions during the day, of course. So if you can avoid it, don't stay late unless you absolutely have to. The later you stay, the more people will go home, and the easier
Either
it is
way,
for
I'm gonna
someone to enter
die.
your
It doesn't
workplace,
matter
which,
even if I
you're
stay in my
fortunate enough,
house.
will contain some
I
sort of
like the
guards,
lights off.
but who am I kidding? There's no way the owners will have the budget to institute guards for their employees. Also, this goes without saying, but if you see a person that doesn't look real or something's off about them, don't try to help them no matter how desperate they seem, as this could be an encounter with the stranger, who is known to have a disorienting mental effect that increases the chances of you getting lost. And trust me, it's not a good time for that. At least, not yet. So let's say you found a way to make it through work or school. Now you have to get home. But unfortunately, you accidentally stayed too late, and now it's past the heavily suggested curfew. And to make it worse, you live in a known hotspot for these things. When driving home, you have to not only be extremely aware of driving over bridges because of the threat of bridge worms grabbing your vehicle and pulling you
I'm not going to swear. I'm not going to swear.
under, which bridge worms, if you are unfamiliar, use fake faces to lure people in before revealing the disturbing underside. They are listed
That
in
just
the
looks
second
so
most dangerous category on
disturbing.
the tier list and are known for
You
hiding under
cannot tell
bridges
me
and
that does not look
underpasses. And if
disturbing.
you're thinking, well, I'll be fine because I don't go over bridges when I go home, well, you'll be lucky to know that they have a bigger relative known by the highway worm, who would make traversing any freeway at night, and maybe even during the day, a hellish and fatal mistake. And for those of you who can drive, I don't know if you've had to navigate anywhere without using freeways, but it's not a fun experience, especially at night, and definitely not something I would like to do after a long day of work. There are also plenty of threats that could jump out in the middle of the road and block your path, such as this mutated cow thing known by Big Charlie, or the threat of if you hit
the
any
irony.
sort of roadkill, then you'd basically be ending your own life right then and there, as it would summon the god of roadkill, who immediately responds to you killing an animal with your car by killing you with your own car, aka a fatal car crash. Back roads aren't any safer, as you would have to be aware of the country road creature, which has a long, lengthy humanoid design that wouldn't have a hard
Oh
time
my
at all
God, what is
outmaneuvering your
that?
car and stealing you straight out of it. So driving kind of sucks now. So what about walking home? Well, I feel like I shouldn't even have to explain this one, but I'm going to anyways. Despite
really
walking
shouldn't.
home opening up more routes than just roads
even
and bridges and
deadlier.
highways, and so far I have yet to hear of something like a sidewalk worm, walking home is still probably one of the riskiest and last things you ever want to do in this universe, as there are just so many creatures that are seen walking around at night. but I'm going to let you be the judge. To start out, we have the Needle, which is a horse-like creature with, as the name entails, a needle-like face that can assumably run you right through and drink everything out of your body, similar to a mosquito. Now, in my How to Logically Survive
He did not
video,
just bring mosquitoes into this
to
conversation.
outmaneuver these things. You could easily
Why?
climb a tree, as they do bear a lot
Why?
of similarities to horses, who also, as you probably know, can't climb trees. But as you can assume, that wouldn't be the safest option either. So if you plan on making it to your destination safe, I have a couple of tips for you. The first of which being, do stay on major pathways. Although streets do contain dangerous entities as mentioned before, they often mark well-lit routes, and trust me, you're going to want to see these things because there's a good chance they don't need the light to see you. Not to mention, as I will talk about later,
Once
as much
again,
as it
why
will
did I
seem,
record
the
this in my
things that
room?
you could run into lost in the woods, or God forbid some sort of abandoned building, are way, way worse. So I don't recommend you lingering too long in one place. You need to keep moving, even if slowly and calculated. The longer you stay in one spot, the higher the chance of something unwanted catching up to you, or gaining the confidence to come out of its hiding spot. However, it's smart that you do use common sense, and when you choose to risk walking past or near something, you should be able to deduct that those are not Halloween decorations, it is December. So if you see something hanging, you should probably not be there much longer. And finally, don't bother taking public transport, as they will be there too. But if you do want a faster method that isn't a car, there is a compromise of using a bike. Now, when you do make it to about a mile of your home, it's important to look around your surroundings and make sure you aren't being followed. Because in this universe, this could be a consistent problem. Hell, there is even something called It Followed You Home. You need to keep in mind that as dark as it sounds, there are plenty of other people in this universe. There is no need to make yourself its target. And the only way to do that is by being
Finally,
aware.
somebody's
So
speaking
you
about
miraculously made it home
self-preservation.
from work or school. Now what? You'll be happy to know that if you were able to get out of your home, there's a good chance while you were gone, something was able to get into your home. Now, while it would be
Why
nice to have
did
a
you
smart
pull
home
that?
security system built in with like a Ring doorbell and something so you can see exactly what enters your house during the day, with as simple as a Alexa, how many entities came to the front door today? I'm gonna be real with y'all, I'm not gonna be able to afford shit like that. So I'd be stuck doing things the old-fashioned way, being walking around the house with your weapon of choice and checking every closet.
Weapons
and
not
hiding
gonna
place
do
for one of these
anything
nature's
to them.
wonders
Have we
that may
not
have been
learned a
waiting for
single
them.
thing?
Especially something like the homebody or the nervous house guest, which the latter primarily stays
Yeah,
outside
that thing just kind of
on
looks
my roof,
shy.
but
He
again,
doesn't
I
look
don't feel
mean.
like getting snatched the second I walk into my backyard or when going out to check the mail or taking out the trash. Once you check your whole house, don't forget to lock up everything behind you and use anything you can to bar the door, and I would also suggest covering all the windows, because it is assumed that if you give them nothing to look at but blinds, entities like the peeping Tom will just move on to the next home. Oh, and one last thing, you're going to want to make sure that your pet is still your pet, as if you hear something like dog noises when you have a cat, there's no need for panic quite yet, as it could just be an anxious dog that figured its way into your house. Now, why these things are
I'm sorry,
by
why did
default
you
hostile
say there's no
creatures,
need for
you'll be
panic?
okay as long as you follow my advice. Although I wouldn't be as hopeful for your pet. But hey, I'm optimistic for their chances. All you have to do for anxious dogs is, despite their horrific and utterly disturbing nature, we can take some tips from the Mayfair Watcher Society that these originally derived from and treat them like a pet. Now hear me out. Apparently, similar to real pets, they mimic your body language. Meaning, if you treat them like a puppy, they'll act like one. And if you treat them like you're extremely disturbed,
Wait, so you're
and
telling me
you're
if
afraid of
I
them, well, then they'll
have
give you
one of those
something
things
to
in my
really
house,
fear.
I can
Now,
get
on
a
the
new
bright side, I
dog
do have a theory
and play
that
fetch
if you
with
are
that thing?
able to tame them, they would make great
I'm
guard
actually up for it now.
dogs. Sure, we'll go with dogs. So you made it home, checked and locked your house, and even tamed a guard dog. So now you can hopefully get some rest. Until the giant walking through the city happens to wander through your neighborhood. Okay, screw this shit. I think we need a vacation from all of this. Somewhere nice, but where can we take a vacation? Maybe the forest?
Hear me out, Hawaii.
Well, I'm not so sure about that one. What about a nice Airbnb? That could be a good idea. Until you remember going into random new houses isn't the smartest. Okay, it must be okay to relax
I'm
on the
saying
beach, right?
Hawaii.
Alright, this is getting ridiculous. Since staying in one spot anywhere in this universe does not seem to be the best idea, perhaps something like hiking or backpacking through the calm countryside might be the best possible option. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and say this is completely safe, but compared to the other options, this has the highest survival rate. But of course, we're going to need to take some precautions. But on the bright side, these giants do make life miserable for you and everyone around you, but at least from a distance, they're in a way cool to look at. It almost makes you forget how truly unfathomable a creature creature of that size would be. But I wouldn't stare too
Even if
long,
it was
because
a
then the
giant,
others
I
might take
always
the
thought
time to
those were
figure out
cool
your
and not
route.
scary.
In order to make your hiking experience better, do find some place to make
I
camp
don't
for
know
the
about
night
you guys,
well
though.
before the sun sets. And whatever you do, don't make any form of fire or use any form of light. While this does make it so you can see everything
You
in a
just
nearby
said
vicinity,
don't
just
stay
figured out
in the dark.
exactly where you're going to be sleeping. I recommend just using a thermal sleeping bag and sleeping under a bush or inside of a hollowed out log. And of course, making sure no one saw you going into it. And no matter how tempting it is, don't take shelter in that abandoned building. Wait, I said don't. Don't go in an abandoned building. Well, now you're lost. I hope it was worth it. But
Yes,
I
it
don't blame you
was.
too much, as there are many ways you could have ended up lost throughout this entire time, such as taking a desperate detour because something undesirable gets in your usual path, or simply because you're stuck face to face with something you can't quite fathom,
Why is
but
that
you feel like
Peppa
staying
Pig
here even a
on
single
crack?
second more might not be the best option. Now, accidentally getting lost would be a key element of life in the Trevor Henderson universe, and I don't know if you guys have ever gotten lost by yourself at night, but that on its own is a traumatic experience, not to mention adding these creatures into the equation. The first thing to ensure survival is to figure out where you've ended up. These things don't necessarily have guaranteed locations, but there are areas that I can assume they exist around based on their names and pictures. For an example, the marionette in the horrifically named Decoy for Humans seems to hang around parks at night and assumably are more likely to be there. The biggest entity
Wait, weren't
hotspots seem
those
to
the
be abandoned
guys?
buildings,
No,
though,
no.
as we see many,
No,
many
I'm thinking of the
images
other one.
of these
I'm thinking
creatures
of the other
using
one
them
that
to hide
dances.
inside, likely during the day. So when lost, definitely don't go inside of buildings that you come across, as you might not like what's been living inside for a long time now. However, if you find yourself inside of an abandoned building, do stay as quiet as possible. You need to realize that this is their home, and they're going to be a lot better at traversing it in the dark than you are. Picture it as if you were some sort of bug and you fell into a spider's web. It's going to do anything to try to lure you into exposing your location. Some of these creatures use baits in the form of camouflage, like Mr. Bags, or in rare cases, there is a creature
Okay, I
known
know
as
about
the
Mr.
dove,
Bags. He's
otherwise known as
supposed
the
to be
bird
like
spider, that mimics a
something
sort
that's
of
stuck in a
bird's
loop
lure,
of
while a
betrayal.
real spider in this metaphor hides just out of sight. Finding yourself inside of these infested buildings are a terrifying experience, but if you do somehow, you also have the added responsibility of making sure that you don't, for the love of God, let anything out, especially this one entity in particular, going by the man in the red room, that hangs from the ceiling and maneuvers around inside of a cruel red glow. It is supposedly able to manipulate people into its building through dreams to accidentally, or in some cases purposely, free it. So it's not uncommon that if you'd find yourself lost at night, you would also find yourself ending up inside of this building, adding another worry to your list. And I have no clue what this thing is capable of, so above all, don't let him out. But I wouldn't blame you if you did, because of the whole panicking thing. So all in all, you did your best. But hey, at least once it's free, you might have doomed humanity, but it likely has bigger plans than hunting you down. Regardless, your best
My
bet
thoughts
when getting lost in
exactly.
this
My thoughts
universe is
exactly.
staying put until some sort of natural light appears, and then when day breaks, you'll be able to hopefully naturally find your way back home, assuming you haven't, of course, wandered your way into a forest. So far, living in this universe seems hellish and full of constant fear, and now, upon returning to your destroyed home, you remember why you left in the first place. But it's not all bad, because living in a universe like this would likely prevent lots and lots of new jobs that you could take up in order to pay for those damages, mostly for a new type of researcher that specializes in entity investigation and home intrusion.
Bro,
This would likely
imagine
be in
having
the
that
form
as
of
a
new phone
job,
service
though.
that would need to be set up alongside 911.
That would
deals
be
with specifically
terrible.
home intrusions, assault, and kidnappings by these entities, which would likely be going rampant. If you've ever heard of the indie game Home Safety Hotline, you play as a pest control operator that answers calls on strange entities and pests alike, and you give advice on how to get rid of them. And I feel like something similar in this universe could improve the quality of living greatly. Is there a two-headed clown infesting your basement? Well, I suggest bolting that door shut and forgetting you have one. An odd text just summoned a mischievous bone creature and it's tormenting your family? Well, it's as simple as forwarding his text into a chain message and watching all your troubles fade away. A cartoon-looking
Hey, they put a nice little Bendy reference.
cat has made its way into your bedroom. Well, no use continuing that call. Now, entity investigation in this universe would also provide a lot more insight on what these creatures are exactly and what they could possibly do. I recently read an extremely cool comment on my last Trevor Henderson video that was a fan talking about how the body of the pig is actually a lot more dangerous than most people think, as not only does its name entail that it could possibly be a demon, Pigs are also omnivores, meaning if it catches you, not only would you die, it would eat you alive.
Wait,
It's
pigs are
information like this
omnivores?
that could be put into an
I
SCP-like
always thought they were
database as a way of
herbivores.
understanding these entities better, and therefore making everyone a little more optimistic about their quality of life. So you got a new job, had a halfway decent vacation that only almost killed you every once in a while, and your house is now slowly being repaired due to the money you're raking in from your new dangerous yet high-paying job. You finally can relax, sitting in front of a fireplace. This is your one form of peace that you felt since coming here. Except now, your anxious dog is nowhere to be seen, and the tiniest rustle of the carpet prompts you to look into the mirror to your side.
Bro, come on, what the heck? Oh, come on!
Just in time to see your last seconds flash before your eyes before the forgotten baby who you had forgotten about silently entered your house while you were relaxing and turned your lights out instantly. Yep, that is all it would take. One slip up and it's all over. Unfortunately, this is the norm here, as unlike our life where people can live to their 80s, 90s, and even 100s, in the Trevor Henderson universe, the life expectancy would be 30s and blessed to reach 40. One of the most depressing aspects
That was
is,
super
no matter how hard you
depressing.
tried, this is not just one encounter you would survive. It's a whole life. And you can only get so many lucky breaks before one of these creatures catches up with you and takes you off guard. The terrifying aspects of Trevor's art is the fact that, if you think about it, 90% of them are drawn as the probable last photos that these people are ever going to take. Hypothetically, of course. Sorry, it's so fun to get immersed in these universes by making videos. Anyways, that's going to be it for this one, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed your life in the Trevor Henderson universe. If you guys want me to do this for other forms of internet horror, give me some suggestions down in the comments below. I'd love to do more. And if you've made it this far, comment down below the creature you'd be most scared to coexist with. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Cartoon
I can't wait
cat.
to make more horror content for you guys in the future.
No
Peace.
debate here.
Well, that was quite an adventure. I'm sad to see you go, but don't worry, this doesn't have to be the last time we see each other. I got another cool video. Just for you. Hurry, the video's almost over.
Well, I might check out the video next. We're already at the end. Well, thank you for tuning into this video. That was really something. One thing that I've learned from that is I will be dead by now. Anyway, the link to his channel will be in the description. That was a pretty good video. You might check out more someday. Anyway, thank you for tuning in, and good night.
And if you want him to check out any more videos, recommend it in the comments. We might check it out. Anyway, why do I sound so weird?
Oh, that's because we use an AI voice for you this time.
You what?